16 political parties, 16 candidates jostling for the lighthouse in Oka at the moment. Voting accreditation is ongoing in some polling units in Anambra. And we have joining us on the program this morning, Fred Nzeakor is a legal practitioner. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us on Anambra at the side studio.
Thank you.
Looking at the election at the moment, we had Chris here talking about it's very early to start judging the INEC chairman, but Yaga Africa has placed the INEC on 3 tests, talking about efficiency tests, integrity tests, and impartiality tests. What is your assessment of this process so far?
Let me first reintroduce myself. Yes, you told them I'm Fred Nzeakor, a legal practitioner. You forgot to tell them that I'm a proud Onya Anambra. All right? So, I'm ordinarily supposed to be in Eziapaka ward in Abagana, in Nzeakor local government,
what are you doing
to cast my vote. But I decided to join you in the analysis in Lagos while encouraging my people all over Anambra State. 21 local government areas of Anambra, 326 political wards of Anambra State, and 5,728 polling units.
The election will be held in 718. 5,718 polling units.
So they are going today to decide whether to continue with Professor Charles Soludo or to change the direction. Anybody who begins to guess now, it is too early to guess. But I think it will not be too close to call at the end of the day. Now you are talking about assessment of the INEC chairman. I agree that it is, some people say it's too early to assess him, but we are not assessing the INEC chairman. We are assessing INEC. INEC as an institution. The chairman is like a headmaster of the institution. There are teachers, there are pupils, there are other workers in the university, in the school, where the headmaster is in charge. He is just the headmaster. There are national electoral commissioners. How many of them? 12 of them, taking care of. Each national commissioner is in charge of 3 states of the federation. There are 36 resident electoral commissioners in Nigeria. 1 is sitting in Anambra. Now, there are
10 at the moment in the states?
Yes, 1 is official, sitting in Anambra, and 10 have come to collaborate with her. Is a lady. To collaborate with her and ensure that the election is delivered with utmost integrity. So, with or without the chairman, that election should go through. So, the fact that we have a new chairman that was just confirmed 16 days ago is completely immaterial. We are looking at INEC. And we are not only looking at INEC, because there are other critical stakeholders in every election. Yes, INEC, the election management body, is #1 critical stakeholder. Number 2, the security agencies, the security operatives, the police, led by the police, because in most cases, it's not just only the police. You find out that some other sister agencies are co-opted to assist the police, especially in general election. But I don't know whether in this one, they co-opted the other sister agencies.
Absolutely.
But most likely, they are usually co-opted. And we hear that there are over 55,000 of them.
Now confirmed to be 80,000.
Now confirmed to 80,000. Yes. Maybe it will be increased as the time goes on, because it keeps increasing, because it is just one off-cycle election. I mean, it is just 1 state out of the 36 and FCT. Well, judging by the Supreme Court analysis of 2023, we now consider FCT as the 37th state in the country. So we are looking at 37 geographical states, and there's just 1 of them. So I do not think, in all honesty and in all sincerity, that if INEC wants to deliver, that they cannot deliver. And I think they just want to shine. Anambra election will be free. It will be fair, most likely. The people are not interested. These are my people. We know ourselves.
They are not interested.
They are not interested in mago-mago.
Okay.
They are not interested in unnecessary maneuverings. The people know what they want. If there are a set of people that know what they want, Anambra can beat their chest and say, we know what we want.
Okay.
And they can easily express it without fear of contradiction. They don't mind standing alone. They don't mind. They don't mind standing differently from others. They don't belong to bandwagon.
Okay.
They are convinced and they know, and they follow their conviction, and they will show that today.
Okay, so now this is my question. Now, being a son of the soil, you say the people know what they want, and they are proud and convinced to say it. Now, would you say this is it a new development, or would you say over the years they have known what they want and they have chosen what they want?
It had always been like that, except when there are filthy fingers from external influences. It had always been like that. The people of Anambra had always decided what they want, and they have always followed their convictions.
Do they come out to now actually put that to test?
They usually will come out to put it to test. Yes, that when you talk about the issue of a critic will say, oh, they don't usually come out to vote. They are not alone in that. Nigerians generally, we are suffering from voter apathy. Okay,
so now back to the people of Anambra.
So back to the people of Anambra, they know what they want.
They want know what
and
they
they've
want.
always expressed what they want.
Okay, but
like, they always resented the filthy fingers from outside.
Yes. So now what would you say is the issue and the challenge where we see that voters registered 2.8 million?
Yes.
Now, over the years, you've been seeing the numbers of the registered voters increase, but the votes decrease. So if they're bold enough and saying, okay, fine, we know what we want and we're going for it, now why do we keep on seeing a decline in votes from
Is an anathema, is an irony that has bedeviled Nigerian political experience and Nigerian democracy. And it has a reason. And what is the reason? The reason is the filthy fingers that we keep talking about. Once the filthy fingers come, the people get disoriented, they get disenchanted, they get disinterested, they get disillusioned from going ahead. But once you begin to give the people credible election, the turnout will continue to increase because everybody wants to stand out to be counted. And the very moment you begin to give impression that you people can just go and waste your time and vote, we have decided where we are going,
what makes
then there will be apathy.
What makes a credible election? Let's quickly give you the situation report at Igwedima Primary School, Oka 3. The presiding officer of Unit 012 said they commenced accreditation and voting at 8:30 and has recorded 4 votes. The beavers machine are working. No issues recorded. That's from that particular polling unit, Igwedima Primary School 3 in Oka.
Yes.
So things are going on smoothly in your state?
No. I said that things should go on smoothly. The people are not interested in being rioters. They are not interested in blocking anybody. They are not interested in telling you if you are not voting Mr. A or Mr. B, don't come out, like we saw in 2023. We are setting the pace. That is the light of the nation, Anambra State. Do not infiltrate their decision, and their decision will stand.
What makes a credible election?
Look, Emmanuel, what makes a credible election? 1, integrity of that election. And what is integrity? And that is what the Young Africa guy, Etodo Samson, was talking about. They said the 3 standards for INEC, that of integrity. That is the most critical, integrity of the election. And how does integrity come about? Allow the vote of the people to stand. That's all. What makes a credible election is allow the will of the people to stand.
Just a moment. Let me put you on the pause. You continue with that line of thought. Let's quickly join Inena Gabriel. Thank you so much for joining us, Inena. Tell us where you are at the situation report.
What exactly is...
okay, we are here at Igwedima Primary School in Oka, and we have about 4 polling units here.
All right, so we're having some disconnection there. When we get that sorted, we'll definitely have Inena Gabriel to give us insight and updates concerning the election in that particular polling unit that she is standing to give us updates. Back to your line of thought.
Yes.
Talking about credible election.
Credibility. What makes it credible? Allow the votes of the people to stand. Allow the people to decide. You don't choose for them. Whether your decision is wrong in your own eyes or not, allow that decision. And that is respect of the people's mandate. And that once it is respected, once you don't try to turn 1 to 11 or turn 11 to 111, then you're home and dry. And that is why we continue to say that the issue of manipulation of election comes at the point of collation. The people will come out, vote, but in the course of collating the result, 1 becomes 11, 11 becomes 111, sometimes 11 becomes 71. All these human manipulations intentional human manipulations. In some cases, like that professor did in Akwa Ibom State, where he turned some votes into hundreds of thousands.
But now we have the beavers, which should give a credible election.
Emmanuel,
you will give your reaction on that. Let's quickly join Inena Gabriel. Give us the update on where you are and the situation report.
Okay, we are at Igwedimma Primary School here in Oka, and here we have about 4 polling units. The presiding officers confirmed that they commenced both accreditation and election at 8:30 a.m. But we also noticed that there is voter apathy, and this is what observers earlier, about yesterday or so, were also complaining about, that there will be voter apathy. There is a low turnout of
voters here. I don't know why. I'm trying to ask them why there is no voting, no voters here. So the 012 confirmed that they just registered about 4 voters. So far they've had about 4 votes, and the other one has about 6 votes. We can see, apart from this 013 that is here, that we don't see having about 18 or 20 groups. So 18 before election, now it should be about 20. So I can see 2 other places in the mainstream now. When you talk about security personnel, they are all here. You can see them, seated, waiting, but we are not praying. They are not praying for attention, actually, but they're saying they are on standby. They're on ground.
It seems we're having audio disconnection there, getting Inena Gabriel clearly, but she had made mention of the issue of voter apathy in that particular ward. What's your primary school in Oka?
This is about 9:40. This is just
about
9:43. This is about 9:43.
Over an hour after votes.
Yeah, so you can't be talking about voter apathy by this time. Absolutely. It is too early to talk about voter apathy. I mean, the people who wake up, they know. One, there is no movement. Okay. No movement. Everywhere is frozen. You only come out from your home, go to your polling booth, your polling unit, cast your vote. If you like, stay behind to watch over your vote. If you like, you go home. And they know. This is not the first time they are going to vote. I mean, except the new adults that just turned 18. Those who have been voting, they know that voting will last until 2 o'clock. So a lot of them who need to take their breakfast, they have to take their breakfast and all that. And sometimes they also know from experience, past experiences, that the election management team does not come and set up early enough. So
but this time around, it was...
No, there's no, it is their duty to do so. So they don't have to just go and be waiting for them from 8 o'clock. By the time it's coming to about 10, 11, you'll see a surge. So it's only when you begin to talk about voter apathy, at least you will give up to 1 o'clock before you begin to talk about voter apathy. Voting will close sometime around 2 o'clock.
2:30.
2:30, good. So,
but let me quickly give you this report at the governor's hometown ward, Sofia in Agwata. Local government electoral officers arrived well ahead of the voting time, and a large crowd of voters were already waiting before casting the ballots began on time. It's been a high turnout at the governor's voting center polling unit 002 in Sofia.
Yeah, but it's expected. What do you expect? It's naturally expected. These are governors' home boys and home girls. These are governors' village people. You know, Chief Alex Akinyele of Blessed Memory once said that everybody is a villager. Everybody, every man is a villager. So when the time like this comes, you realize that everybody is a villager. The governor will leave the lighthouse in Oka and go to interact with his home people at home. There should naturally be large turnout. One, a lot of them will have the opportunity to hobnob with the governor, play around with him, that they have missed for a very long time on account of state duties. Then it is also likely that there will be enough food to eat and enough drinks, that you vote, you make merry. It is allowed. You see, that is why voting pattern in Anambra is exciting, because it's an opportunity for people to even network and interact. Exchange banters, oh boy, I've not seen you for a very long time. Oh, you came home fine. Because at every voting unit, there will be somebody ready to prepare food or snacks and drinks. They will be there, and then we'll make merry. Even after the voting, they will be drinking, they'll be making merry while awaiting the counting of the votes and all that. So I think the excitement is in the air.
We were talking earlier about the issue of beavers and manipulations.
Yes.
What's your reaction on that? You said something earlier.
Technology is adapted to assist humanity. And each time there is honest deployment of technology, the assistance is visible and humanity gets better. That is the whole essence of adapting beavers for accreditation. Beavers, bimodal voter accreditation system, which case it not only captures the essence of the voter, the particulars and details of the voter, it also authenticates the voter's card. It does dual assignments, and that's why it is called bimodal. And once it is honestly deployed, there will be no problem. But when there is a corruption of technology, it's just like the computer garbage in, garbage out. That's where the problem lies. And that corruption comes by trying to teach that beavers what it was not imputed to do. And that is where the manipulation comes. I do not expect that in Anambra. Of course, it will not likely happen. Yes, there could be some obvious technical issue with one or two beavers, somewhere, beavers machine, somewhere, but I'm sure that INEC would have prepared for that, so that if anyone malfunctions, there
are enough backups.
There are more than enough backup. So I would not expect there will be a problem. But what I don't know is whether INEC will begin to experiment on the IREF. The IREF was the main issue in 2023, especially National Assembly and presidential election. The IREF, lack of deployment of, honest deployment of the IREF. I use the word honest because the so-called technical glitch has been criticized as dishonesty. Honest deployment of IREF would have made a difference. 2027 election is coming. I expected that IREF should be tested, starting with Anambra State election. There may be one or two other off-cycle elections before 2027 election.
IREF in this election.
Let us see.
But let's quickly
tell
you that voting has commenced in Orago, Ward 1, in Nnewi North local government area of Anambra State. And units 16, 17, and 18 are seated. The candidate of the Labour Party is expected to cast his vote in Unit 17. We have Uche Okoro standing by to give us updates. Uche, thank you so much for joining us. Give us your local government and the situation report.
Right now, I am in Nnewi North local government area, particularly in a place they call Uruagu community. In this particular polling unit, you can see behind me, there are 3 polling units here, and there is unit 16, 17, and 18. And from my findings, the candidate is expected to cast his votes here. He's still at home. I believe that any moment from time he will arrive. Voting has commenced here. Everywhere is relatively calm. Security personnel are heavily present to maintain law and order. The voting is ongoing, still in the preliminary stages. Majority of voters haven't cast their votes. But so far, from where I stand, there is no cause for alarm. The exercise is going on smoothly here in this. This is Ward 1 of Nnewi North local government area of the state.
From where you're standing, can you tell how many voters have been accredited and how many have cast their votes?
I don't have that figure right now, but it doesn't seem like we're having any issues with accreditation. I've taken brief stops at the 3 units that are here, 16, 17, and 18, and they don't seem to be having any issues with accrediting voters as of now using the BVAS machine. Accreditation is ongoing. After this conversation, I would dig deeper to get total number of registered voters here, and then I'll ask how many persons have been accredited so far in the election. But I said it is barely 2 hours since the opening of polls. The day is still very fresh. The day is still a long day ahead. So, but I'll get those details as the election proceeds.
Yes, I mean, the day is still very fresh. More people are actually expected to come nonetheless. When you look now, can you just give, off the top of your head, how many people, give or take, can you see present to vote, voters that is?
Okay, I'll just flip the camera so maybe you can get a clearer picture for yourself. As it stands now, this is the situation here. You can see these persons are all waiting to be accredited. Okay. A number of them here have cast their votes. And so the crowd is appreciable. It's growing by the second. It's growing by the minute. More persons are still trickling in one by one. So I would say that this crowd will grow. There's hope that the crowd will grow beyond this any moment from now.
Are there presence of security operatives at Nnewi North 1? What can you say about their presence?
Just a few minutes ago, I cited about not less than 5 to 6 trucks fully loaded with of personnel of the Department of State Services patrolling this area. Not less than 20 to 30 of them, if not more. So it shows you, it gives you an idea of the level of security that was deployed for this election. And so far, there is no cause for alarm. The only challenge that the policemen deployed to the polling units are having right now is ensuring that those who do not have any business at the polling units are not sticking around. Because the number of persons who really don't have any business here are coming to the polling units, and then the security personnel are having to speak to them calmly and to identify them, identify their mission there, and to ensure that once you cast your vote, you don't necessarily have to go home, but at least step aside to ensure that the polling units do not get overcrowded. You cast your vote, you come and get accredited, you cast your vote, step aside to the field and stand and allow others who haven't done so to approach the polling unit. So that's the only little challenge that the personnel are having. People are eager to cast their vote and stand right there and just, just hang around. The personnel are saying, you want to hang around, that's fine. You want to monitor the process till the final stage, that's absolutely fine. But you can do so from the flanks. You don't have to be in the face of the electoral personnel and in the face of the security personnel to do that. But aside that, everywhere is calm. Security seems to be adequately, I wouldn't say heavily, let me say adequately deployed to Nnewi North Local Government area where I am. So that's the situation. The crowd are just here. A number of persons, as I said, have cast their votes. Others are still approaching. Right there in the picture you can see on your screen right now, you can see three white banners posted on the wall indicating the presence of 3 polling units, units 16, 17, and 18. One of the candidates in this election will be coming here any moment from now to vote in Unit 17. I'm reliably informed that he's still in his residence and making final preparations to exit and arrive at this location.
We'll be expecting the candidate anytime soon, but we now have Ikena Mechi standing by to give us updates. Ikena, tell us where you are and the situation report. Hello? Are you there?
Okay.
We can hear you.
If you can hear me, I'm at Mbauku.
Okay.
You can go on.
South local government area of Anambra State.
So what is the situation report at the moment?
And okay, we are here. We arrived here, and we saw that voting has actually commenced since 8:45 when the INEC officials started admitting people to vote, accredit and vote at the same time. And it has been going well here in the 3 polling units at this Central School 3, where people have come to cast their votes, and they are it's just a regular voting activity. There's nothing different or abnormal, except for the fact that when we came earlier, one of the voters was trying to, do his accreditation, but the beavers didn't actually accept his accreditation, so he caused a little bit of scuffle, but he was handled, and he was told to stay stay out of the line until later on probably can try again. But apart from that, the voting process has been going on well, and the area is calm. This is earlier we reported from Amobia in the center of Oka, that's the town Oka. But this time around we are at this like a suburb kind of. It's not like as urban as Amobia. So this place is a little bit out of town, but we can see that people are still orderly coming to cast their votes, and some people after voting they return to their houses, but some people are still hanging around. There is just the presence of security personnel here, just ensuring that things are done orderly, and we are just observing. And good enough, the deputy governor of the state, this is polling unit, and in any time from now we're expecting that he come here to vote, and of course probably grant us some time to talk about the whole process here in Oka and in other parts of the state he will be hearing from. But so far it has been the normal voting process. People are just orderly and everything is just going as normal. Okay, so you said the beavers didn't capture his accreditation. Can you please throw more light on that? And has that situation been resolved? For now, the beavers actually, because it's a machine, so we can't expect that it's 100%. So it didn't capture him, but at the end of the day, they told him to step aside. But later on, because there are still people on the queue, if you look behind me, there are people on the queue. So he has to wait until probably later, and then they will call him again to actually capture and see if it will accept his card, and he will vote. But apart from that, it has been going smoothly here. Absolutely. It has been going smoothly in Mbako, Oka South local government area of the state. Well, can you confirm to us if you have people, persons with disabilities around that polling unit, and what treatment has been given to them? All right. I can't actually see anybody with disability at this particular polling unit, but what I can see, like I said, this is a suburb, so you see old people coming here to vote, and those who are not so strong, frail, but they are still giving, some of them giving seats, and others will just be giving them opportunity to cast their vote first before younger voters. So that is what we've seen in this particular polling unit. But as I said earlier, that the deputy governor of the state will be casting his vote, and of course he's approaching his polling units to cast his vote. So we'll be following that update and probably call, talk to him after he has cast his vote on what his own view about the electoral process so far in the Anambra election going on in all 21 local government area of Anambra State, and people are just eager to vote. I'm just hoping that with what we've seen so far, that the voter turnout, which we have apathy in the past elections, that it will not be same in this particular election, because we have seen that people are really eager to vote, and when we come to some of all the polling units we visited, people are turning out and voting, and the process is just going smoothly, as we can see right now. So we hope that it will actually be breaking the limit of previous election of voter apathy all through the state. Okay, so we know it's very important to have the youth and the young people included in these electoral processes. Now, based on what you can see, what would you say by percentage is the percentage of the young people to the old people there? So would you say we have more older people present to vote, or we have the young people at a higher percentage? All right. This place is majorly, like I said earlier, that is a suburb. It's like off the town, the main town of Oka. So you will have expect those who are here, elderly people most. The demography around here mostly is elderly people. So we have more of them in this particular polling station than the young people. But we still have some young people still, you know, on the line voting. But we know that people are majorly old people that are coming to vote and actually exercise their franchise. But the number is quite, you know, encouraging that people are coming, standing on the line, and maybe the weather too actually played its own role because the sun is not so much, and people are just outside casting their votes, and everything is just going on well.
Okay, would you say the security personnel on ground are working in tandem with the INEC officials to ensure there is order in the polling units?
All right, so yeah, security personnel are positioned in strategic places, and we know that they are not supposed to bear arms, but they are here to make sure that there is orderliness in every, you know, part of this particular Central School 3 polling station, where we have 3 polling units, and people are just coming to vote. And you can see, because of the presence of the police and how organized the INEC are here, INEC officials are here, people are just orderly, and they've not been any issue that has to call for security personnel intervening. Apart from the man that the beavers refused to capture his details, but you know, it didn't actually require the police officers to come to settle that issue. It's just about them. So it has been just normal, and we hope that it will continue like this until the whole process is completed.
Expectations are high that it will be normal, and we have a very seamless process. Let's put you on a pause at the moment. We'll still come back to you to give us more insights and analysis into this particular election, especially where you are covering in Umbaku, Oka South, a local government area of the state. Back to you, Fred. You had his reaction there, talking about the beavers. What you're saying, that someone is a bit aggrieved at the moment.
Yeah, the guy will be aggrieved because he came out to vote, cast his vote, exercise his franchise, which is his civic responsibility and right to decide who becomes his next
But this is
governor.
just one out of many.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. The issue may even be with his own
accreditation,
with his own person, because maybe his finger
or the official,
maybe his finger. But if his finger doesn't work, his facial should as well work. It's just a minor glitch, very minor, because the same beavers machine is handling that of other people. And possibly, maybe by the time the beavers is rebooted, it will now capture his own. So, and they did well enough to ask him to just step aside.
And that's what the law says.
And come back. I don't not think that there is deployment of incident form anymore with the beavers. We used to, when we were using the previous machine, we used to have a provision for incident form, in which case, when the machine couldn't capture your details and accredit you, then you'll be given an incident form, or rather, the electoral or management officers will fill out the incident form, and the person will be allowed to vote, provided the person's name is on the voters' register, which is very important, and the particulars on the voters' card match with what is on the register. So there will be no disenfranchisement. And I think his own case will be sorted out. It wouldn't be a major problem.
That will be sorted out anytime soon, and we hope to still get more insights from Ikenna Mechi there, who's covering.
Yes, and Ikenna's observation about the demographics. Yes, when you ask him, you ask him, what the demographics like? Yeah. He said he has seen predominantly elderly people. Yeah. Yes, it is understandable. One, the elderly people will want to come out when the sun has not become hot, so that they will cast their vote and go back home. Secondly, the place is not a very big urban environment. And of course, you know, when we talk about rural-urban migration, it affects every community.
Let me quickly put you on the pause, Mr. Fred Nzeakor. Let's quickly go back to Ikenna Mechi, who is in Mbako, Oka South, to give us more insight. Ikenna, over to you.
All right. We are still at the Central School 3 polling station, where we have 3 polling units, and of course the exercise has been going on normal, and the weather has been very climate, and the people have been, being on their best behaviors, trying to cast their votes. Like I initially said, that a lot of elderly people, because of this, like a suburb of Oka. But right now we have an observer that has been following up on this election, pre-election and during this election. They've been observing what has been happening, and they've been giving information. So I want to talk to her, bring her to let her tell me about what she has observed so far about this ongoing process in the Anambra Governorship Election, which is taking place here, and especially in this particular Mbauku ward.
Good afternoon. My name is Ifeyinwa Wajagu.
All right, tell us about what you observe about the ongoing governorship election that has, we've seen so far in these particular polling units and other units across the state.
Okay, so far so good. The election has been peaceful, and the people are cooperating in exercising their franchise. So we're still working though, and we're still expecting more people to come. That's all.
All right, the organization you represent has to do with those with disability. Tell us about the inclusivity of this election.
Okay, South Africa sent us here to watch out to the people living with persons with disabilities. If the INEC is welcoming them well, if they have access to the assistive tools, and also to assist them with assistive tools, the braille materials, the magnifying glasses, and whatever. So far, we are working with it now.
All right, what will you say that you've noticed about the challenges that has been in this particular polling station in Central School 3 that is something of interest that you report to people back at home?
Okay, I haven't seen any challenge because the INEC staff are welcoming, and they are doing their job very well, and the people are also responding very well.
All right, that's the observation of one of the observers monitoring this governorship election, and she has actually stated what she has observed so far. And what I've observed here too as well is that they started around 8:45 a.m. as against 8:30. Probably some logistic problem, but 15 minutes delay is not that. But I can see that they've made up for it by people coming out en masse to vote, and people coordinating themselves and casting their votes. And of course, the voting process is still ongoing.
Absolutely, Ikin Mechi, many thanks there for giving us this particular update. Thank you so much, Ikin. Well, you said something very interesting. We have the election observer also giving a critical look concerning this election, saying all is going on fine. The people with disability will also be accommodated in this particular election with all the necessary things that will aid them in casting the ballot.
Yes, which is important because nobody has to be disenfranchised by way of the person's physiology or whatever challenge that the person has. So I think it is good that they have made provisions, adequate provisions to accommodate people with disability, whether of their limbs, of their sight, of whatever. And it's a good welcome development. And let's see, even though you may not have quite a number of them, but it is good that even if it is one person, the person is accommodated. Based on the data from INEC, we have over 3,000 registered voters who are people with disabilities. So it's important that with that statistics, they'll be able to make adequate provisions because they will know where they fall into, which voting units they are likely to cast their votes and all that, and they make arrangement for their inclusivity, which is extremely very important. 3,000 is quite some number. that is enough for them to be planned for. So if INEC has done that, then one can say it's a very good plan and it should be encouraged.
Okay, I think it's really important. I mean, the people with disabilities are actually taking specific care too, and attention is put in that direction. Now, but I want to take your mind, cast your mind back, I mean, to Anambra elections of the past. Now, something we have seen in the state, I mean, we had the same conversation with our previous guest, Mr. Chris, talking about party dominance. How would you say, or would you say that has in any way, has a way of affecting voters' apathy?
Party dominance has nothing to do with voter apathy. What affects voter apathy is integrity of the election, past election integrity, and the experiences of the people. Party dominance will only sway the direction of the votes. And if any particular party is really dominating the environment, then it will win. So
you don't think people will have the mindset that, okay, you know what, for the past how many years, this particular party has kept on winning, despite the fact that we are voting in another direction, and then say, okay, you know what, there's no point in me coming out to vote.
If they are uncomfortable with whatever the party is doing, they will, that is one reason why they will troop out to come and vote against the party.
Absolutely. Let's quickly look at the history of elections in Anambra State. Talking from the point of view, April 14, 2007. But we'll quickly get to that. We have our correspondent, Uche Okoro. Many thanks for joining us, Uche Okoro. What is the situation report at the moment?
I'm not hearing the studio.
All right, we'll get connected to Uche there anytime he's ready. The governorship election concerning Anambra State, April 14, 2007, gave a landmark decision that we started having the off-cycle election in that state. We had a governor who won the election but was not sworn in. He was governor-elect. And another person went to challenge the result, even to the Supreme Court.
What happened? Did you win? That's the question. Did you win? If he won, how would then one say that he wouldn't continue? Yes, even that his victory was to be challenged. But there was a challenge pre the election that had not been settled.
Absolutely.
And when it was settled by the Supreme Court.
And that was taken to the Supreme Court.
And when it was settled by the Supreme Court, it created the off-cycle. It's a very massive landmark judgment of the Supreme Court. That was when we had Supreme Court that had courage. Not the Supreme Court of today. But it's a story for another day.
This is debatable. You are a lawyer.
I say it's a story.
This is your own jurisdiction. Emmanuel,
I say it's a story.
Your jurisdiction?
I say it's a story for another day.
Just a moment, Fred. Let me put you on the pause. We have Uche Okoro standing by to give us updates. Hello, Uche, are you there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The voting is ongoing here. Even though there are a few challenges with the accreditation, the technical challenges being experienced with the beavers in trying to accredit some voters. The presiding officers here have told a few of the affected voters to try again later, perhaps maybe when network or any other improvements can be made to the system. But I have here one of the voters who just moments ago cast his ballot here in the Anambra State Governorship Election. So I'll just talk to him for a minute. Good morning to you, sir. I'll just tell us your name, please.
My name is
Okay, Ward 1. Just help us try and be a little bit more audible so we can hear you clearly. So tell me, you've just cast your vote. Just show me your finger just as proof. So can we see to the camera? Okay, so that's proof that you just cast your vote. How long ago?
About 30 minutes or 35 minutes ago.
Okay, 30 to 35 minutes ago. All right. So far, what's your assessment of the process? How was the voting for you? How would you describe your experience?
My experience is very okay. Very very well. The agents are people, nothing, no embarrassment, no fighting over a certain voter. And the officials, they are polite and they are okay. Everything is working very well. I have my experience is okay. No any trouble with them, everybody. Nobody came to me to propose me.
Hello, Uche. We are finding it very difficult to to hear that voter to give his own experience concerning the election ongoing at the moment, where Uche is covering Uruago in with North Ward 1. We'll get back to Uche anytime soon to give us more insight concerning development from that particular ward. All right, back to your analysis on the 2007 election. We saw someone that won that election who just served as governor-elect for 19 days.
Yes, because he was removed because there was no vacancy. The election wouldn't have held in the opinion of the Supreme Court. And that was what led to the off-cycle election that has been adopted in Nigeria. And like I said, it was a landmark judgment. It was a very mighty precedent that has set the tone, which going forward, if such courage had been exercised going forward, our democracy will possibly be better than what it is today. But it is not too late to turn to the right direction if you observe that you are moving on the wrong direction. What we expect is that our democracy should continue to improve for the betterment of our society, for the betterment of humanity, and for the betterment of Africa, because Nigeria being the giant, the most populous, and the big brother in Africa, the rest of Africa countries are looking up to us. And if we get it right, it will become an exemplar to others. And those who mess up, they will say, oh, we are looking up to our big brother while we are messing up. If our big brother is messing up and you cannot rein them to do what is right, why are you disturbing us that are small boys? So that is why Mandela said that the rise of Africa dependent on the rise of Nigeria. Nigeria has a very important place, not just to begin to say, oh, we are the most populous black nation on earth. It is not enough. To whom much is given, much is desired. God has given us such. So we cannot just be answering big for nothing. We have to answer big in reality, in action, and in setting the pace for not only good governance, but in development and democracy.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So with regards to the last elections now, 2021 elections, let me cast your mind back to the Ihala local government situation, where it was necessary that they do a rerun of the polls. What would you say now? I mean, what is your comment on that? And what would you say can be done differently to avoid situations like that?
There's a provision in our laws, in the Electoral Act, and even in ANE guidelines, that when there is a certain level of infraction, then there will be a rerun.
Let's quickly take the Deputy Governor of Anambra State at the moment. Is on live. He's been accredited by the Beavers. Let's see whether he will be captured.
Dr. Onyeka Ibezim is his name.
Yes.
And I think the PVC has been checked. These are live images from Anambra State, Awka. Precisely, the Deputy Governor of the state is being accredited at this time. This is Central School 3, Umbauku, Awka South, where this Deputy Governor of the state is about to cast the ballot. He has gone through the accreditation process, and now he's receiving the ballot paper to go to the box to cast his ballot at this time.
I think it's quite impressive to actually see, I mean, the system. We saw the Beavers, we saw the accreditation being done, and it seemed like it did go through, and he moved to the next stage. So this is actually just showing that, showing what the process should look like, in case you're watching and you're actually about to step out to cast your vote as well.
The process has been seamless in Umbauku, Awka South local government, Central School 3 at the moment, and reports from our correspondent, Ikena Mechi, has been saying all seems to be well, and you can see the Deputy Governor just cast his vote, and we're seeing more development. We hope that other residents of the state will also do the needful to ensure that there is no voter apathy in the state.
Yes.
Is yet to be interviewed by our correspondent, Ikena Mechi. In the next couple of minutes or seconds, we'll be hearing from the Deputy Governor of the state.
Yeah, I lost the
Accreditation and voting commence at 8:30, and voting is expected to end at 2:30 in Anambra Governorship Election. Quite interesting development that we're seeing at the moment coming from Anambra. At the moment, no violence. All seems to be well in this particular election. The INEC chairman has given his words that he will conduct a very credible election at this time. Back to your line of thought.
Yes, I've lost my line of thought.
Absolutely.
Where were we?
We're talking about EALA.
Yes. Very good, very good. I wanted to go there. Yes, it's important because why I say it's important, there are some, you said all is well. We expected all will be well in these areas already covered. There are some places that you call the flash points, the black spots identify, the security black spots, EALA and the environment. Osumogu, you know, when you come to EALA is a town and a local government. Here, local government, as a local government, there are many towns in that local government where you have issues of security challenges. You know, Osumogu, Azia, EALA itself, and then some other towns around there, and then some towns even in Agwata, deep in Agwata, you have some security breaches there. You now go to places in the riverine areas where you have, that one is essentially logistics challenges because of their terrain, the riverine communities. But INEC said they had already made arrangements to ensure that the voting materials get to those riverine areas on time. I would be very glad to see what is going on in those axes. Ayamelom, Oyi.
Just a moment, let me quickly put you on a pause at the moment. We have our correspondent, Ikena Mechi, standing by to give us more updates. Over to you, Ikena Mechi.
All right, Emmanuel, we are still at the Central School 3, where, you know, voting is ongoing, and of course, the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Dr. Onyekachi Ibezim, just exercised his franchise, and of course, we want to hear his view on the election so far and what he feels about the conduct of the electoral body, and of course, the people, interestingly. Your Excellency, you just exercise your franchise like many other Anambra that are doing that today. What will you say about the the exercise so far by the Independent National Electoral Commission conducting this governorship election, the first for this particular INEC chairman?
Well, I will say simply that mine went on smoothly. Okay, I came and I stood on the line, and it was quite commendable, the speed. But it's too early to make a general statement or conclusion on the whole process. Okay, mine is, I've not gone round. I am just here. My house is a stone throw from here, and you can see I came here with my wife. And all I can say for this center is that it's peaceful. Okay, going by the way Mr. Governor, carried on a peaceful campaign, going through the processes, sensitizing the people, and all that. And I would say there is that awareness now to come out and cast your vote and determine who leads you. However, I want to say that for us in Anambra, and for Mr. Governor and myself still sitting, of course you know, Mr. Governor is still the governor, and I am still the deputy governor. It's only that we are candidates. If the people give us the mandate again, we will be sworn in next year. But what we want to say that for us it's a litmus test for the new INEC. The world, not just Nigeria and not just Anambra, is looking at INEC. I think the whole satellite is focused on Anambra State for you to get it right. This is not the first time INEC is trying beavers in Anambra and all that. The other time they tried it, it was a big success for us. So we're also watching. By the time I get some information on a lot of centers, I'll maybe jump into a conclusion.
All right, Mr. Deputy Governor, looking at the election so far, I know that definitely you are talking about what you've seen right here, and we have anticipation of security situation, in some parts. What are you hearing about the situation generally? We've seen this place very calm. People are conducting themselves very well, and the turnout, as you said, look as appreciable. But what will you say about the security challenges in other parts of Anambra? We know that some places are designated hotspot. Ihiala, we have Orumba North, Orumba South. Tell us about what you're hearing.
Well, for now, just like I told you, it would be too early for me to jump into a conclusion because I've not heard from anywhere. But if anything is to go by, from what Mr. Governor has done in the past years, the liberation of all these local government areas that were held by these so-called unknown gunmen and all that, massive liberation, Ihiala, Osumo, Lilu, all those. And when we were campaigning, actually, they celebrated this massive liberation. Okay? We had a priest who told us that he worshipped for the first time after years of captivity. So if we go by that, we say we have no fear of security. But for today, because the police,
Well, I think we lost connection with the Deputy Governor there, Onyekachi Bezim, the Deputy Governor of Anambra State. Well, he said it's too early to start commending at this time.
Absolutely. It's too early.
We hope to see more development. He just cast his vote, and we're hoping to see that more residents of the state, especially to the people of Central School 3, Mbaku, Oka South local governments, cast their vote in that particular region. The power to make decisions lies in the hands of the people.
Yes.
Yes, that is why we say allow the mandate of the people to stand. You don't have to thwart it. You don't have to redirect it. You don't have to decide for them. You don't have to rely on a tribunal made up of 3 judges to take a decision on behalf of 2.7 million people that collected their PVCs out of the 2.8 million people that registered, and out of the hundreds of thousands that will come out to come and cast their vote. The mandate of the people must be sacrosanct. I am of the school of thought that the greatest injustice you can do to a people.
You will continue with that school of thought. Just a moment. Apologies, Fred Nzeakor. Let's quickly get Solomon Ajozogo. Can you quickly give us updates on this particular election?
Okay. If not like this,
Hello, Solomon, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Emmanuel. Well, I must say it's like a party here today for the people in the Sophia Ward polling unit 002 in Agwata local government of Anambra State here. In this particular polling unit where the governor is expected to show up and vote, there are 933 voters, registered voters here. And the crowd that I have seen here today looks like it's more than 933. Maybe it's because it's the governor's polling unit. And the odd thing is that if you have 933 voters in this particular unit, then the Independent National Electoral Commission was supposed to have split, this particular polling unit when you have to create a room for maximum of 500 or 600 so that you can have 2 polling units out of this. The turnout here is massive. The voting is going on. Everything is going on smoothly. The electoral officers came in good time. and the people just keep streaming in, as if you turned up a water tap, and they are just coming in to vote. Of course, their son is the one who is in the saddle of government today, and they must show that solidarity. But I imagine that is this actually 933 or is it more than 933? You can see people still sitting and waiting to vote. As they sit, then the line is drawn over there. When that batch finishes voting, then the people who are sitting here, then they move forward. If you look outside there, there's an overflow of people outside still waiting to vote as well under the canopy on the road. So far, I think that this election appears to beat the expectation, the initial narratives of violence, of tension. As we were coming all the way from Oka, passing through Amobia, Ekulobia, and all the towns in between, everything was peaceful, seamless, no case of violence, except maybe if there's going to be one later. But as it is going right now, there is no report of any conflict or any crisis anywhere in Anambra where this election is going on. And I also have someone here with me, an observer, who's come to observe the activities here, Onwumere Eni, or one of the domestic observers. What have you seen here so far?
I've seen a peaceful atmosphere. The voters are seated calmly, waiting for their turn for accreditation so that they can vote. I think these people have done some good work here. They provided seats so that people don't have to be impatient, so people have to wait on the queue and they're seated down. It's orderly. Everything is going on peacefully.
When you compare what you have seen here today and previous elections here and around Aguata local government particularly, where some people say in some places in Aguata you have pockets of violence, how do you compare what we have now to 4 years ago?
No, I think what we have here now is more organized than what we had in the previous elections. But I can see that the population is more than what we had in previous elections. Maybe because of the revision of voters register that was conducted before this time. And also people who wanted to vote for their own preferred candidate had to transfer their cards from outside Anambra State and they're back home here to vote. That's what I observed. That's why we have more than the population, double the initial population. But people are seated calmly. But I also observe that we have a lot of security men within the environment. They are quietly observing how things unfold. We have the military, we have the police, we have everything. And the good thing about it is that all of them are wearing accredited cards. What it means, you can identify all the policemen, you can identify all the security men who are here to work. They are properly recognized.
So you've had an observer here who is observing the elections, Eni Onwumere. One particular thing is that even the people who are old, the older people who might find it difficult to come, there are some people who are provided some vehicle services, as it seems, whether it's keke or little buses that you call korokpe, the little small buses, to convey some of the older people who really want to vote. The one significant thing here is that a voter that we spoke with, because I had reported earlier in the week that Air Peace had to reroute some of the flights that were not initially built to come to Anambra so that they can cater for people who were returning home to come cast their votes here. And we spoke with someone earlier who had to come home all the way from Lagos to be part of this vote. So it seems that the Anambra people, or Ndi Anambra, are willing to break the dock to have more than 10% that they had the last time when we had the governorship election. So far, the trend here in Aguata, in polling unit 002 in Sofia, the hometown of the governor, is showing good signs. We wait for what the others will bring from the other wards and from the other polling units to see if they will surpass the 10% the last time out.
All right, sir, very interesting there. I can see, Solomon Ajozogu, that you are indeed enjoying yourself with all this analysis that you're giving us at the moment. It's not a case that you are scampering for
Emmanuel,
safety.
It's some homecoming for me,
Absolutely.
I'm in the East, and I've had some very good homely food. I'm in the East, and I'm from the East. So, and you know, Anambra, for a lot of us in the East, is a bright spot for the Southeast, and we hope that once Anambra gets it right in this election, then we can say Professor Amukwiton has gotten it right in his first litmus test as the chief electoral umpire for Nigeria.
I must tell you that it's quite too early to start giving that particular judgment that you just gave on the new INEC chairman, because a lot of people have said this is a litmus test for him, and he has about 3 integrity tests to pass. That of integrity test, efficiency test, and impartiality test. But quick one, before we let you go, Solomon, what is the proximity of the security personnel on ground to the polling units?
Well, so okay, so I can step aside a little so that you can see how close they are. Where you have the pillar there is where the people cast the ballot. The polling officers are there. People go there, get accredited on the beavers, and then they get their ballot papers. Then they go there to go vote. You can see where the security officers are there, talking to them, organizing them, helping them being organized.
Absolutely.
All right, so now, I mean, I enjoy the fact that we actually see that a lot of people have come out in that particular polling unit 002 to actually vote. Now, from what you can see, you were speaking earlier and talking about how, okay, maybe INEC would have actually split it if the numbers seem to be larger than expected. Now, in the long run, would you say INEC has enough materials to attend to the people turning up at that polling unit?
Sorry, I didn't get that. There seems to be an uptick of activities here. There's so much noise. Could you say that again, please?
So the question was, I mean, we're talking about the turnout of people in that particular polling unit looking like it actually exceeds what was expected. Would you say INEC has enough materials in the long run to attend to everyone presently there and the people that will come after this particular batch is done?
All right, we lost connection with correspondent there, Solomon Ajiziogo, talking to us about development in Isofia, Agwata local government area. I thought we can get him to know when the governor will indeed come out to cast the ballot.
Sure. When the governor comes, we maybe really want to call you so that you capture that. But it's important, Emmanuel, that while we capture the polling unit of the governor, polling unit 002 in Isofia, and we capture the polling unit of the deputy governor in Anambra, we don't expect problems in those places. Let us also capture the other locations outside these places.
Yes.
Of course, you expect that this...
our correspondents are all
Yes. We'll be excited to see the report by the correspondents in places like Urumba North, Urumba South, Ihiala, where you have seemingly security issues, and in places like Anyamelum, Anambra North, Anambra South, and Obaru, where you seemingly have issues of terrain, the challenges of geographical difficult terrain. But I am certain that I'm hopeful that with the widespread of your reportage, we are going to cover all that. It's also very important, Emmanuel. Nobody has told us anything about vote buying. Please ask. Have they noticed any incidences of vote buying? Because the vote buying process is clinical. It's done very, very clinically. If you don't
how do you mean?
If you don't put your eye on the ground and your ear on the ground, you won't know that it's taking place. It is not done in the open. I give you an example. A voter casts his vote. In the process of casting his vote, you know, you have accredited, you have taken the ballot paper, you go to the box, you cast, you place your fingerprint where you want it, and when you are about to drop it in the box, they will seemingly make it to be exposed. And the agent or the political parties will cite where the fingerprint is and then know whether you have voted for the party or not. When you have voted for their party, one agent at that point will raise one finger. That finger, if it is right finger, Emmanuel, I'm telling you.
Speaking from experience.
From experience, yes. I run elections, I monitor elections, I'm on ground. I told you I would have been on ground in Anambra. And I tell you what we have seen in most places around the country. If it is right hand, they say right hand means for us. Left hand means against us.
Fred, let me quickly put you
and then after that you go to collect
those permutations of the
after
right
that you go
left.
to collect your voting money.
Solomon Ajizogo is still very much with us this morning. Solomon, do you have any cases of vote buying in that particular area that you are at the moment?
Well, so the voting continues here. It's uptick of activities here. The people are waiting. They don't seem tired to be voting. It's orderly so far. People are even eager to wait for their time to vote. They try not to shunt, and when people try to shunt, the people react, but they are waiting patiently for their turn. The turnover time for the accreditation and the voting and the proper casting of the ballot is so short. There is no delay. There's not been an incident of the malfunction of the beavers so far, that from what we have seen here. Well, you can say again, it's the governor's polling unit. Maybe there are exceptions to that. But we've had situations in the past where in some of these polling units, whether for the governor or for a president, where beavers had malfunction or we've had some technical hitches. But so far here, there has been no problem.
There has been no problem recorded at all concerning the BVS situations, because we're actually ahead of situations where some people have not been able to be accredited in other polling units. It's nice to actually note that. Now, the question I asked earlier was, do you think INEC, the materials on ground now, are able to handle the votes as we're seeing right there in 002 polling units, considering the fact that you speak about the fact that a lot of people have come out to vote?
I didn't get that.
I think you're having
maybe your voice.
Issues
maybe you help with your voice.
Connecting
maybe.
with Solomon. Now, you have about 933 voters that particular election that have been registered. Does INEC has enough materials capable of handling them? Did you get that, Solomon?
Well, one of the things, they already know the number of people that will vote here. So when you check that the registration at the polling unit here, it caters for 933. Now,
Absolutely.
We think that that is also a bit odd, because when a polling unit has been able to have over 500, over 600, you naturally have to split that polling unit. So the people in this polling unit now deserve 2 polling units, because there are 933 people voting here. So you should be having 500, 600. If you have 933 here, then you have to split it 2 ways so that you can have 2 polling units from this particular place. The INEC officials are doing a good job handling this. The technology is not malfunctioning, so everything is going seamlessly. If there are hitches, we will report to you that there are hitches, but so far there's been no incident.
Before we let you go,
in a hurry to vote and go home.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, do you have any insight to what time the governor may be coming out to cast his ballots?
Well, we expect the Chief Press Secretary and the protocol people of the governor to give us that signal. One of the major problems here in Anambra is information management. You have to squeeze the rock to get some milk out of the rock to be able to get some of the useful information that you need to get the job done. So we are waiting for their signal. Once we get the signal, we hope that they will be up to give us the proper signal as to when the governor will be coming, whether it's in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Once we get that signal, we are ready to take him. Even if he comes in while we're doing the live now, we will tune to him to get to, we must get the governor voting. What is an election if one of the persons participating and the man who is in charge of the state and for whom people here have come out does not take part in the votes?
Solomon Ajizogo reporting live for us from the Sophia Agwata local government area of Anambra State. Many thanks, Solomon. All right, back to you.
Emmanuel, I want to agree with Solomon that it is a failure of planning for INEC to allow such number 923 in one polling unit. That's huge. It's expected that they should have split it. And even if people transfer their vote, their cards to that unit because it's the governor's unit, INEC should have anticipated that, and then at least before they have some time to split that and then make provision for that. But well, let us hope that everybody that wanted to vote will vote. And then yet Solomon was unable to give us a snippet about the vote buying issue. Remember that...
Just a moment, let me quickly put on a pause. Yes. Apologies for all of this.
No problem.
We have an election observer who is reporting from Dim Ala polling unit, Regina Farka. Many thanks for joining us on TVC Anambra Decides. What is your reaction, your assessment of the process so far?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nigerians. We're actually at the community school in Amobia, and we have 3 polling units here. Total registered voters 3,322. Again, the issue of oversubscribed unit come to play, but essentially it's been a very peaceful atmosphere here. The polling units have been opened as early as 8 a.m. this morning. On ground. On grounds, and the people are just trooping in. In fact, this place looks like a carnival setting. Food sellers, but essentially taking very good. I'm a little observer for Orient Foundation, and so far so good. We expect that this time around, Anambra State should exceed the 10% benchmark they have set themselves. The people are trooping in, they are voting, and then peaceful so far. We moved from Oka, the state capital, we went as far as Nnewi, Enugu, and then we passed to North here. Each place we stopped over to observe proceedings, and we've been peaceful so far, very, very peaceful. Right now, we're in Amobia, primary school, and you can see from the background, people are just enjoying themselves. No incidents of no visible period of vote buying. The companies, enough security men, enough journalists, enough observers also, both local and international. And so far so good. It's early days yet, and workers that have passed their vote so far here can be put at about 20% of the 3,322 registered voters. Thank you.
Okay, so with regards to voters' turnouts, what would you say the demography is? Would you say we have a higher number of the younger population or a lower number compared to the older people?
You know, the Southeast is made up of younger people. So we find more the younger ones here. But of course, there's sprinklings of the older ones coming in. No underage voting at all. Everybody else in church, and like I said earlier, we expect to have a higher percentage of voting this time around in the number state. It's either the INEC organization worked better or voter education is better. Again, we can't discontinue the issue of security in the state, which has been improved upon and generally.
Absolutely. Okay. It's a fine place to live it. Election Observer Coordinator, Orange Foundation, Regina Farka. Many thanks for joining us on the program this morning. Back to you, Fred. You just have like 30 or 1 minute to just make your final thought before we let you go on the program. What are your expectations? Are we going to see surprises in this election?
The election, before I get there, Election Observer said no underage voting. It's a very critical statement that he made, and is a sign to Nigerians that we should not be tolerating underage voting. There's a particular part of this country that is fond of fielding children during elections.
Do you have facts to back that up?
I say the statistics are there. The issues is in the public domain. There is no underage voting. That statement is very strong, and is a very, very deep advice to that part of the country that failed underage voting, especially during national elections. So 2027 is coming. we should not have underage
Any surprises
voters
in this election?
We should not have underage voters. I do not expect there will
seconds?
be. I would not expect there will be much surprises. But what I expect is that the people will turn out to come out and vote. Good thing begets good thing. When a voter votes and there is peace, and he goes back, he tells his family, go and cast your own vote. So I expect higher turnout than in the past election.
Absolutely. Fred Nzeakor, legal practitioner, many thanks for joining us this morning.
And then Onya Anambra.
Onya Anambra.
There's a difference between Onya Anambra and then the Anambra. Onya Anambra is singular. The Anambra is plural.
Thank you so much for joining us on
Thank
Anambra
you.
Decides this morning. Wilfred, it's been an interesting time.